So, we're going to be talking about all the things that sellers need to make sure are clean before they get pictures taken and their listing goes live to market. And we've got a cleaning checklist for you that spells out everything. So, we'll link that in the description for you. So, I went to this listing to check on it before we took pictures, because we do a professional picture package and drone photos and the 360 virtual tour and all that stuff, right? And I used to kind of just show up before the photographer after the seller told me that they were ready for pictures. And that's no longer what I do. You learn now, yeah. Now I go several days ahead of the photographer to go check out what things are looking like, and sometimes more than once, right? So I went to check this listing this weekend, and they said, "It's clean, it's done, we're ready." And I stepped in, and no, they're not ready. We ended up, they decided to reschedule pictures, but clean means different things to different people.
Very true.
It really does. I think sometimes sellers think that like just wiping down everything is good, like that's fine. But buyers are really looking for a deep, fresh clean that like makes them feel like that home was really well taken care of, right? Especially in the market that we're in right now, right? So different than when you bought your place. We just cared if we could buy it or not when you bought. Like, we
Just get me in here.
we would have bought anything. We didn't care how clean it was back then. We're like, I don't care. I'll come clean it myself.
I definitely had to clean my fridge. Like, that was a thing.
Yes. Yeah. So yep. So different. So it depends on the market too, right?
Yeah.
So the market that we're in right now, we have tons of inventory. We've got like over 8,000 units on the market. Our days on market has soared to over 40. It was probably 4 days on market when you bought. Everything was going under contract in the first weekend.
So fast.
I think like a normal days on market for a balanced market would be considered around 30. And we're at over 40 right now. So buyers are taking their time to find the house that they think is perfect, and they're willing to wait for it. And they're hoping that the seller is going to give them some seller concessions to help them buy it too.
Yeah, the defense is crazy.
Yeah, it's about 60% of deals right now, sellers are giving concessions to buyers. Like in condos and townhouses, it's about $7,000 or $8,000 on average that those buyers are getting from the seller.
And I had to give more.
Yeah, and you had to pay extra. And in single family homes, the average, I think, is like $11,000, the average amount of seller concession. And interest rates are in the high 6s and low 7s right now. So in this market, the buyers are really looking for turnkey stuff. They want it to be move-in ready, sparkly, fresh. And if it's not that way, then it's going to sit on the market. And you know who wants to buy it?
Investors.
Yes. Yes. And any sort of cash offers from investors are going to be low.
Right.
You're not going to get the most money. Like, and from cash offers from investors, like off the top of my head, and I don't have any like data to back this up, but sort of like anecdotally off the top of my head, I would say that if you go from trying to get the amount of money that's kind of what you're looking that comps are worth in the neighborhood, the cash offers from investors are going to be anywhere from maybe like 50 to 75 grand less than that, because they not only are going to need the money to bring it up to that same level, but they also have to make a profit.
Right.
So
they're not going to be willing to go more than that. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So we want to talk about some things to make sure that sellers are getting their house sparkly. And we want to talk to everybody because clean means different things to different people. So we're just going to sort of like get down and dirty right now and talk about like some very specific things that need to be cleaned and what's acceptable and what's not.
I like it.
Yeah. Yep. So top to bottom, right? When you think about your house from top to bottom, what are some of the things at the top that you need to make sure are cleaned?
Ceiling fans,
Mm-hmm.
corners.
Oh, I didn't have that one written down, but that one's a good one. And ceilings, especially if you look up at your ceiling and there's gross stuff on it, you need to clean it off.
Yes.
You can't just be like, nobody's going to notice that.
Because they do. Yes. I have that issue.
What else? What else is up high? Ceiling fans is a great one because ceiling fans, when you don't wipe them down every so often, they get that like layer of gross stuff around the edge, and I look for that when I'm shopping with buyers. I'm looking at those ceiling fans to see if they're all gross.
It can get so bad too. What else is up high? I'm sure. So it's anything up here.
Okay, wait, I'm going to give you a hint. Okay. Pretend you're at your bathroom sink and you're washing your hands. Now look up.
The vanity
light fixtures.
Yeah, the light. Yeah.
Yeah. So ceilings, corners, ceiling fans, light fixtures. Windows and walls.
Yes.
To the window. To the wall. Yeah. Windows and walls. Floors and baseboards.
Oh yeah. I'm like obsessed about baseboards now that I've like cleaned my house with a professional cleaner. So I'm obsessed about the baseboards now.
Yeah, because we have more than one friend who's a professional cleaner. Yeah.
Yes.
I actually sat down somewhere in my house the other day and I just kind of looked down at the baseboard and it's starting to get some kind of like buildup on it. And I was like, time to do the baseboards.
Yes. Yeah.
So when I'm shopping with buyers, I am looking at baseboards and I'll go, see that? See all that gross stuff on the baseboard? They didn't clean very often.
Yes, that part. I actually always clean the tops of my light switches and stuff too.
Oh, I also didn't have that written down either, but light switch and outlet covers and the actual switches and outlets themselves. That's something that is a very cheap thing. Like if you can't take that off there and clean it so that it looks shiny new, it's like $1.
Yeah. And you can get sets of them
on
Amazon super cheap too.
Yeah. So that's something, that's a little tiny detail. And in this market where, buyers want everything to be sparkly, those little details make a huge difference. Huge. So we're talking about professional cleaners, right? So if you're hiring a professional cleaner, you have to be so specific with them because they have different names for different types of cleans. And different cleaners will cover different things.
Right.
So like, for example, I have one cleaner who, when she does a move out clean, that does not include windows, ceiling fans, or light fixtures. So that's a conversation that a seller would need to have with the cleaner. So the seller needs to know everything that needs to be cleaned. And that's kind of what we're talking about today. Then if they're going to hire a professional cleaner, which I recommend you do right before pictures, because the last thing that happens before pictures is the cleaner comes in. Then I come in to make sure all the staging is on point. Then the photographer comes in, right? And then we try to keep it like that through showings. But depending on who you're hiring, like you need to have these conversations with that cleaner about like, are you going to do the ceiling fans? Are you going to do the windows? Because people hire them and they're like, I'm prepping my house for sale and I need you to come in and clean everything. And the cleaner will go, okay, I'll be there and I'll do a move out clean and it'll cost this much. And there's no conversation about what is or isn't included.
Right. Yeah, you definitely have to be specific for sure.
Yeah, I've run into some issues with cleaners who want to quote, they'll quote a job without actually coming to look at it. And every time that I have been in that situation, whatever they quoted was never enough time. Like, because they weren't there. They didn't know, they weren't able to accurately assess like how much time was needed.
Yeah, because unless you've done that job, like you don't know how to necessarily like explain what they're actually asking you to explain. Because if they're like asking you like the details of your house and like what you're like wanting them to clean, yeah. So if they're trying to quote you over the phone without seeing the space themselves and like what they're needing to clean.
And hopefully they're asking questions like, have there been animals kept in the residence? Are there people smoking in the residence? Have there been children in the residence? There's a bunch of factors that affect, what type of clean, how long it's going to take, what they should be quoting. But in my experience lately, like a lot of these places, if it's not a place that somebody keeps pretty clean and maybe even has a maintenance clean happening every 1 to 3 weeks, if that's not happening and there's years of buildup in some places, it's taken a full day. Like, so
Oh, yeah.
if you don't have help with cleaning and you are pretty sure that like when you move your appliances, there's going to be a bunch of grody stuff, or if you move your couch, there's probably going to be grody stuff back there. You need a longer clean. Yeah.
It's going to take a while.
It's going to be a while. So talking about these types of cleans, and I just mentioned maintenance clean, that is really only something that you could get if the person is coming every 1 to 3 weeks. Like they will do a maintenance clean for you, because part of that thing is that they put things into rotation. So like they'll do your baseboards not every time, but like maybe every 6 cleans or something you get baseboards. So they rotate so that the entire house gets touched every so often, right? A move out clean. So I recently was figuring out the difference between a deep clean and a move out clean. And I think like even the information that we're giving, like it probably varies between cleaners. So you have to have these conversations with the cleaners.
Right.
But the deep clean is something that they would come in and they would spend several hours, really getting their hands on everything around the house, but probably not windows and maybe not light fixtures and some stuff like that, with the idea that they're going to come back and be doing some maintenance cleaning later. So that's not what we want to get ready for sale.
No.
A move out clean. I think that's one that is used a lot, or a term that's used a lot in getting ready for in prepping your house to list it. You might get a move out clean because then they're doing a few more extra things that they wouldn't have done for a deep clean. But I also found out about a ready for sale clean, and I like the title of it.
Yeah.
And this one, addresses all the visible stuff, but also the neglected areas. And like I was saying, like behind appliances and some things like that. And depending on whether the cleaner is insured or not, like that might be why they are or are not doing stuff that's up high that like requires a step ladder, or moving appliances. Like if they don't have insurance, like, and somebody gets hurt moving an appliance, that's a problem.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, so that's another thing to think about when you're hiring the cleaner, is having this really specific conversation. Like, give me a list of what you're going to clean, how long it's going to take you, how much you want, and also, are you insured? In case you fall.
Don't sue me.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, so some stuff that sellers might miss. What do you think are some things sellers might miss?
The baseboards.
Totally. We are hot on baseboards today. Grime. I kind of like that word. Grime.
Ooh, the over the stove.
Yeah, that vent hood.
Yes.
That gets a bunch of like buildup and grime. Ooh, okay, you know where the toilet seat goes up and down? And like back there where it attaches can get
one of my pet peeves. Yes.
I knew somebody that every time they cleaned, they actually took the entire toilet seat off, cleaned that in the bathtub, and then were able to like get that back area just perfect. I haven't kept up with that practice, but it seems like a good practice.
Every time though?
Every time, that's how they did their personally, that's how they cleaned a bathroom.
It's pretty intense.
I mean, but dirty floors, dirty appliances, inside and out on the appliances, people. This is not just wiping down the outside of your stainless steel fridge. This is running your oven's self-clean thing. And then after it gets done self-cleaning, you still have to go in there and clean it. I don't think people understand that.
Yes.
Because what does it look like when it's done with the self-clean?
Still kind of gross.
It has all that gray burnt stuff down at the bottom.
You still have to get all the gunk out.
Yeah.
And then it smells funny, so you have to get that out too. I feel like you at least have to.
And counters around the faucets, where kind of stuff gets grimy around the faucets. Smells. This is a big one. Smells. Have you ever walked into somebody's house that usually an animal smell? It just hits you like a wall as soon as you walk in?
Yes.
Ugh. Not good. Buyers don't like that. I don't like it either, but buyers for sure don't like it.
I feel like usually it's you need to replace the carpets probably in that case.
Carpets, flooring.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's tough. Fresh paint can sometimes help with that.
Well, that would mask a smell, wouldn't it?
You're trying to neutralize it though, right?
Yeah.
You've heard the real estate hack of the cookies.
Oh, yes.
Right? Always bake fresh cookies and have the house smell like cookie, or put a candle on that smells like apple pie or something like that. And the truth is, you really want the house to smell like nothing when people walk in.
Because then they wonder what it actually smells like if you have it masked.
So you don't want to have any little plug-in, those plug-in things that have any smell.
Yeah.
Because as soon as a realtor or a buyer sees that, it's the same thing. What are they masking? What smell are they masking? So that's a big one. And sometimes I think, I don't know, bleach is needed. Sometimes you have to get pretty serious with some of these smells and some of this neglected buildup. You can't leave it for the professional cleaner. I think that's one of the big things that I want to tell people, because I think I say, hire a professional cleaner before we take pictures. And then they're like, oh, great, somebody's coming to clean. And it's yeah, they're coming to clean, but there's not going to be enough time for them to scrub years of what you haven't cleaned. There's just not time to do that. Right. So I'm asking my sellers, please scrub all the countertops, all the surfaces, all the appliances, the floors, the baseboards, the ceiling fans, the light. I just give them the whole list, right?
Right.
Because the cleaner's coming in to kind of do a final thing and make sure everything's done, but they're not miracle workers.
Do your part of the deep clean before they do their professional clean.
Yeah.
Would make sense.
I think so. Yeah, so what can sellers do? Scrub all the stuff. Take this list that we're giving you of all the things that need to be done. Cabinet doors, if you're not going to take them down and paint them and put new hardware and make it look real nice, at least they need to be clean, right? At least. The backsplash against the oven.
The insides.
Yeah, the inside of the microwave, inside of the oven, inside of the fridge. The dishwasher should not need to be cleaned inside, but check it just in case. I don't know what happens in there. I would think it should be clean, though.
You would think. Check the filter thing at least. Make sure it's clean at least.
Yeah, because this is proper. These are the things that are going to help you get the most money when you sell. Because you want the buyers to think that it's been very well taken care of. You don't want them to think that they're going to have to move in and do work like you had to do. You had to move in and clean stuff. They don't want that right now. Maybe we'll be in another market another time that cleaning isn't such a big deal, but right now it is. Like, having your place spotless is a big deal. If you want to sell to an owner-occupant buyer for the most amount of money, you don't have to clean. You don't have to clean, and then we'll sell it to a cash investor for 50 grand less. That's your choice. It's the seller's choice.
If you like this video, if you like me, or if you just like supporting small business in our alternative lifestyle communities, then before you go, please don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and follow the channel.